What's good, blockchain bros and ladies? Welcome back to Crypto News Network. I'm your host, Gina. Today I want to talk about some recent news about two major industry consortiums, the Mobility Open Blockchain Initiative and the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, which released uniform business blockchain standards. Let's get into it. A new association that includes major players in the automobile industry and some powerful blockchain companies was just announced yesterday at the Future Blockchain Summit in Dubai. Called MOBI, which stands for Mobility Open Blockchain Initiative. It is focused on joint development of distributed ledger technology, standards, and projects. The end goal is to make transportation safer, greener, more affordable, and more widely accessible using blockchain technology. There are 30 founding members, which include BMW, GM, Ford, Renault, IBM, and many, many more. These actively involved companies represent over 70% of the market share of global vehicle production, making MOBI the largest industry consortium and something that clearly cannot be ignored. Some of the powerful blockchain companies involved include Hyperledger, IOTA, and VeChain. Coming from their official announcement, through an open source approach to blockchain software tools and standards, the MOBI consortium hopes to stimulate more rapid and scalable adoption of the technology by other companies developing autonomous vehicle and mobility services. MOBI connects global mobility providers with blockchain innovators, as well as government and non-government agencies and institutions to collaborate on the development of blockchain-enabled vehicle data and mobility services applications. The potential and capabilities that blockchain, distributed ledger technology, and smart contracts can add to the auto industry are very broad, but some examples include handling automatic payments, data tracking, supply management, consumer finance and pricing, and lastly, moving towards safe, autonomous vehicles and ride-sharing systems. The development of autonomous vehicles relies on mass amounts of human driving data, which is currently being underutilized due to the difficulty of harnessing and interpreting it in a useful way. Chris Ballinger, MOBI's first chairman and CEO, and also formerly CFO of Toyota Research Institute, says, blockchain and related trust-enhancing technologies are poised to redefine the automotive industry and how consumers purchase, insure, and use vehicles. He continues, by bringing together automakers, suppliers, startups, and government agencies, we can accelerate adoption for the benefit of businesses, consumers, and communities. While the partners could develop similar projects alone, the MOBI consortium benefits them by creating transparency and trust for their users and reduces the risk of fraud, overall increasing security. MOBI makes up an ecosystem where businesses and consumers have security and sovereignty over their driving data, manage ride-share and car-share transactions, and store vehicle identity and useful information. MOBI makes up an ecosystem where businesses and consumers have security and sovereignty over their driving data, manage ride-share and car-share transactions, and store vehicle identity and usage information. I look forward to seeing what innovation and progress comes out of this association. Next, I want to talk about another consortium. Well, an announcement coming from it. The Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, which is over 450 members and growing, is a group of enterprise blockchain innovators that have created standards, technology best practices, and a reference architecture for building on Ethereum. The EEA was formed in early 2017 and includes huge companies such as Microsoft, Intel, JP Morgan. It has the main goals of creating governance and standards body for Enterprise Ethereum protocol, retaining compatibility with and enhancing public Ethereum, and facilitating rapid technical innovation and enterprise-grade governance. Yesterday, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance released common business standards for organizations that use Ethereum, which the Ethereum Foundation, including Vitalik Buterin himself, are supportive of. The standards are created to improve business transaction speeds, build trust between dealing parties, and to enable more efficient business models built on top of Ethereum. Overall, these standards will unite corporate Ethereum use cases under a common set of best practices, facilitating development and adoption over time. The Enterprise Ethereum Alliance is following in the footsteps of other prominent organizations like Standards Australia, the European Commission, and the International Organization for Standardization. By formalizing precise criteria, especially on technical levels, and in acknowledging a critical truth about distributed ledger technology development, the sheer number of standards bodies thinking about big picture implications, as evidenced by the statements they've made over the past year, lend credence to the burgeoning technology regardless of complications surrounding cryptocurrencies. So yes, we know there are many complications surrounding cryptos, and that scares people away. But the moral of the story in both cases I mentioned is that major enterprises are working together to develop industry standards and facilitate open source collaboration, building a collaborative framework that will enable mass adoption at a level unachievable by the individual corporations. Both groups I mentioned are facilitating rapid and scalable adoption of the technology. Blockchain is transforming the world one industry at a time, and it's a beautiful thing in my opinion. Thanks for watching.